Despite it all, I am still very happy to be here.
There it is. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we start with the coin toss. All righty then. Well, thank you for joining us again on this fine Tuesday. As always, we start with a coin toss. And this week, we're going to talk a little bit about some quarterbacks. As you know, quarterback is what considered the most important position in the NFL at this point in NFL history. But the first one I want to talk about is Sir Aaron Rodgers. As all of us saw, he did exit the game on Sunday, and Jordan Love came in and threw a touchdown pass and looked all right. So, for you lovely panel here that I have to ask, and Anthony, I'll start with you. Is it time for Jordan Love in Green Bay? What do you think?
Yeah, yes. I mean, unless Aaron Rodgers has some type of miraculous turnaround and it is consistent, I think yes. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is how long has Aaron Rodgers been in the league now? I mean, I
15,
I
16, right? Somewhere
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. 15.
I'm in my 50s now, and I can attest. Once I got in my 40s, even though I was still very active, a lot of stuff I couldn't do in my 40s that I could do in my 20s and my early 30s. And as we know, this is a very, very brutal game, even with all of the advances in technology and the pads and all of that stuff. It's still a brutal game. So I think so. Plus that I kind of suspect that he hasn't given I kind of suspect that he hasn't given up his veggie pizza habit. So I'm
Probably
just
not.
saying, yeah, I'm just saying it's probably time for him to step aside and let the young guy do what he can do. Because it's
No,
almost exactly the same as what Brett Favre did to him. Like every time they thought Brett
yeah,
was going to retire and he had a bad end of the season, he'd come back again, and you could just see Aaron Rodgers on the sidelines just looking pretty much like he looks now, that frustrated face.
yeah.
So
Nope. But Delilah, I'm gonna ask you kind of a slightly different question because that Rodgers does have a contract for a couple more years with all the money they gave him last year on that extension. Do you what is Green Bay's play here though? I mean, is it time to really see what Jordan Love can do, or because you've signed, you know, Rodgers to this contract, you got to let him play because you're paying him all that money?
Well, yeah, basically, like one, you're not gonna bench Aaron Rodgers. It's just not gonna happen. Honestly, like unless like he's like legitimately hurt, like seasons ago, as we know, he broke his collarbone, he couldn't play anymore, and so like he was out for weeks. So that's honestly the only way that he will not play. Like it has to be like, and then yes, they did pay him that money. You're not gonna start Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers. It's not gonna happen. Even though that's who they chose to be his successor, it's just it's not just the money, it's just the idea. Like regardless of whatever feelings people have, they're just not gonna bench Aaron Rodgers. It's not even just about the money, it's just about the seasons that he's played with them. He did get them a Super Bowl, and as everybody insists on reminding everyone, he won back-to-back MVPs, right? And so like I just there's just no way that Green Bay is going to bench. I think the only way that Green Bay will bench Aaron Rodgers if all of a sudden a collective fan base of theirs actually demands it. You know what I mean? Like because they
Yeah.
buy into, they think they're own they think they're owners of the team, right? You guys know this. Right? They every so often they
Well, yeah,
release,
right. No, yeah,
you know.
they own the team.
So
But see,
unless
my
there's,
thing is,
yeah, I just don't
good.
see it unless there's pressure from their fans, like actually demanding, like, hey, let's get Jordan Love in there, because that's basically also what happened with that's exactly what happened with Favre. Like Favre got old, he was aging, and the fans were actually excited and wanting to see Aaron Rodgers play.
Yeah.
And so finally, the Packers were like, all right, you're ready, aged out, whatever it is, and they sent him packing. And so
Yeah.
yeah, they kicked him out like they
Nah.
did Ricky Martin from Menudo.
Oh wow. Well, a lot of people got kicked out for Menudo. As soon as you turned 16, you were gone.
That's
But anyway,
true.
but no, see, that's my thing though. It's like you drafted this kid, in the late first round. He's been sitting for 4 years. You don't really know what you have with him. Your team is 4-8. You're not going to the playoffs this year. I get it that, as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, he's going to want to play. But I think you really have to look at, is this the Aaron Rodgers you want going forward for the next 2 years? Is this really, with the weapons you supposedly have and the criticism and all that? Like, do you want to go forward? I don't know. I just feel like Green Bay has a decision to make, and I'll be interested to see, especially in the offseason, what they do with this whole situation. But let's move on to something a little bit closer to home for Delilah and I. For those of you who are watching as well, Justin Fields did not play this past week because he suffered a separated shoulder in that agonizing loss the week before. We've been losing all season, I know. But the fact of the matter is, Justin Fields was having a great year up until that point. And I think kind of the same thing is going on there, where I think there's a decision of, well, if he's healthy, you want him to play. But is it a point where being 3-9, should Justin Fields rest that shoulder to avoid any further injury? Should we just kind of let him, really get that thing healthy the rest of the year and just, get our high draft pick and, do our thing? Delilah, I'm going to go to you first. I mean, should Justin Fields just rest that shoulder to avoid any further injury?
Yes, because the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields is like, this is our future, right? We drafted this kid last year. This is only his second year. And so we're not going anywhere. We're not playoff bound. It's not,
Nope.
I just, everybody's going to accuse us of tanking, but it's like, come on, guys, y'all didn't see us going far anyway. So
right. Nobody picked us to win anything. So
regardless, in my opinion, yes, he should sit down and just let Simeon and who's the other, Peterman.
We have Nathan. Right, we have Trevor Simeon and Nathan Peterman, and our backup is David Montgomery if necessary.
Exactly,
right.
And then outside of that, hey, why not have David go out there and throw a few passes? And then on top of that, Mooney, his go-to receiver, is out for the season anyway.
Is out for the season. Yeah,
so
correct.
He doesn't even have his go-to receiver to pass to. So in my opinion, he should sit out and they should just balance between the two and maybe have some fun and have Montgomery go out there a few times. See what happens.
Do some wildcat. It's all good, right? We'll treat Montgomery like Taysom Hill. We'll just have him take snaps and run wildcat. That'll be great.
Honestly, that's my opinion in that regard.
No, for sure. I'm actually I'm with you on that one. But Handy, I'm going to ask you this. Given, again, the progress that Fields has made this year with everything that he's done, and obviously he wants to be in there because, he's proven, I think, that he's going to be the leader of this team. But again, is this a management decision or is this a coaching decision? What do you think happens here between Poles and Eberflus and Getsy and all that? What do you think of that?
I think that all three of them need to put pride and titles aside and look out for the future, not only of the future of the future of Justin Fields, the future of the franchise. I mean, he was a very high draft pick, and you're probably gonna get another one this year. I mean, so are the Falcons.
Yep.
We'll probably talk about them later. But you don't want to. This is somebody that you probably leverage some picks for to get that high draft pick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you just don't want to throw all of that away. You know what I mean? This kid, you run the risk of running him out there and seriously injuring him to the point where now he is worth. Now, as far as his worth to the team, he's not worth anything to the team. And if you were going to try and leverage him in a trade, you're not going to get anything for him in a trade. Let him sit.
Right.
Let him sit and heal up. And like you said, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing David Montgomery.
Yeah, I just think that's funny that he's the third string guy if anything happens to Peterman or Trevor Simeon. So that's just one of those things that happens. But again, that's the Justin Fields saga, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. As we'll get into that later during obviously Bears Packers is this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit later. But our third quarterback we want to talk about is, of course, Mr. Zach Wilson. Here's a guy who gets benched because he says, no, I don't think I let down the defense in a 10-3 loss to the Patriots. But Zach sat last week, obviously, against the Bears, and Mike White comes out and has a pretty good game against a bad Bears defense, puts up 31 points on us. And now I'm sure everybody in New York is going, yeah, it's the Mike White show. But here's my thing. His first game ever, he goes 38 of 45, throws for like 300 yards, a couple touchdowns, and all of a sudden he's the next big thing, and then he loses the next 2 games. So is this another case of he came in, had one good game, and then Mike White's going to fall by the wayside, or is this? Now here's the thing, though. Here's what I really want to talk about, because Zach Wilson, obviously number 2 pick in the draft a couple of years ago. You didn't take anything else. You got rid of Sam Darnold. You got rid of all that. You didn't take any of the other quarterbacks, Justin Fields or Trey Lance or anybody else. You went with Zach Wilson. Anthony Handy, is Zach Wilson done in New York? Is that enough to say we're moving on from you and the experiment's over and let's go with somebody else?
I'm going to speak from what I've seen from the New York fan base first, and then I'll get back to the organization. We know that there's no bigger stage in sports than New York, period.
Correct.
And if the fans turn on you, you literally have to win every game for the next 7 years and save 3 babies from burning buildings and walk 100 women across the crosswalk in heavy traffic in order to get them to go, okay, you're not as bad as we thought you were.
Right.
Do I think that he's, as far as from the organization is concerned, I think right now they're making a point. I don't know if there's anybody there in that organization that he has to like mentor him, because he's the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like he's a Aaron Rodgers, as we were discussing earlier, who had a Brett Favre to mentor him. He's the guy. So I don't know. I don't think he's done. I think this is kind of a kid. We're putting you in timeout and let you think about what you've done. But being that he's a high draft pick, he's not going to sit long. I mean,
okay,
high draft pick, unless he turns into Ryan Leaf, I doubt it.
Yeah, well, somebody made that comparison not too long ago. I heard a couple of those. I'm like,
I've seen those
Ryan
too.
Leaf, that's a bit of a stretch, right? It's a little bit, but Delilah, they're a playoff team right now.
They are.
Their record states that they're number 6 or 7. I think in
they're
the
7
AFC standings right now.
They're 7. Yeah, they're 7. They're like they're the opposite of the Commanders. Commanders are 7 in the NFC and they're 7 in the AFC.
But we don't have to talk about Washington.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that they're in the same boat.
I know. Right. No, but that's what I'm saying, though. It's like the Jets are in the playoffs as of right now.
As of right now.
And you've got a situation where you're sitting your number 2 quarterback that you picked in favor of Mike White. Now, do you think, again,
that was to teach him a lesson? Continues?
Okay, so you believe it was teaching him a lesson as well.
I think Saleh did that on purpose. Saleh is a different kind of guy. You see him in the sidelines. He's more serious. You don't really see him, because I feel like people forget that gone are the days of coaches really going crazy and swearing and being really abusive, or at least in general. We know we've had some.
Right.
Some people go against that green, but in general, that's just not the way anyone coaches anymore, right? And I think they did that to teach him maturity, because they could have put in Joe Flacco, in my opinion, who to me is more of a threat of taking over than Mike White.
Right.
The reason I say that is that Flacco actually has playoff experience. We know that.
Yeah.
He's won a Super Bowl champion. He's a Super Bowl champ. So regardless of what people feel about him, the fact is that Flacco is more seasoned. He's more experienced. And so Mike White last season, people forget he did, he started, he had a one good game.
One phenomenal game.
That's it. And then he was not good.
Right. He lost the next 2. So
and then who he beat is a Bears with no defense anymore, because we got rid of everybody and all we have are young guys. And our offense only scored 10, which, by the way, our offense with Justin Fields has scored a way lot more every single game, by the way.
Well, sure. So, we're averaging 30 with Justin, right?
So in any case, so Simeon only got 10. That would be like us saying, like, oh yeah, let's put Simeon in. If Justin Fields was healthy. That's what I mean. So let's put Simeon in, who we literally moved up in the draft to pick. They're not gonna sit out Zach Wilson the rest of the season. This was honestly to teach him maturity, to say, hey, by the way, we do have other people we can actually put in there. You know what I mean? I
hear you.
And then he did send his apology, right? We know that. Everybody read it. At least I'm assuming everybody on here that's football aficionados read it. So he did apologize and send an official like apology letter and things like that. But ain't no way they're gonna sit out Zach Wilson the rest of the season, especially in the playoffs. You're gonna put Mike White in charge of your playoff
you
team.
have Joe Flacco there. You have Joe Flacco
Yeah.
again. It's just he's been very ineffective. The games that he was in there, and then you see him pouting on the sideline on Sunday like somebody stole his candy or something. So you just wonder, like, how sincere is that apology, and how much has he learned from this? So I'll be very interested to see what happens in New York and O-line going forward, because again, you're in a playoff hunt and you got a spoiled quarterback there who doesn't know how to behave. So very interested to see what happens there.
I don't know who Facebook user is, but yes, I did see the bowl. Like I said, there are some outliers, but in general, most
great
of the
government cheese. Well, there you go. There it is.
Yeah, most of the coaches we see nowadays, the younger guys, aren't like that, and the Bulls a little bit more old school. We know that.
We do. He was getting ready to.
That ref, there you go. Well, listen,
that ref had no idea how close he was to meeting Jesus at that moment.
Yeah,
like
I said, there are outliers, but in general.
Right. In a generality. Well, listen, we want to thank everybody for watching too and commenting there, and thank you again for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.